In this video, I'm going to share the exact behind the scenes of how we collected over $84,000 in sales and $50,000 cash collected in a single 30-day period. This is going to break down the three-step process that I walk all of my clients through, from how they message and package their work to their ad strategy, and finally, exactly how we build out silent sales systems behind the scenes in your coaching businesses so that you have high client retention and a higher lifetime value of every person that enters your world. I started actually implementing the strategy that I'm going to share with you today. It was the first time in my 10 years of running my business where I was like, oh, the financial goals that I have, the impact goals that I have aren't just something that I'm like manifesting and envisioning for myself. It actually feels more inevitable than ever before because now I have a very clear-cut path of exactly how to do it. And that's what I wish for all of you, because I feel like, in raise of hands, like we're all kind of spiritual girlies. Like when we have something that we desire, we can envision it, we can manifest it, we can visualize it. And that's amazing and good and important. I will never bypass the importance of embodiment and visualization. But I found that, at least in my experience, I was doing all these meditations and breathwork practices and journaling and feeling it in my body, but there was still this like looming question of, but how? But how? And the how is what I'm going to share with you today. So I'm really excited for you to also feel that as well in your business, because when you've got the logical and the spiritual locked in place, like you are fucking unstoppable. And that's what I hope and wish for every single one of you. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive in. So the good news is what I'm going to share with all of you works for every single business model that you are sharing. My name is Ava Johanna. I know some of you are new to my world. Some of you are OGs. Welcome to everyone. Instead of telling you my entire life story, what we're going to talk about is like what you actually came here for, which is creating unicorn numbers like this in your coaching business. This is real data from my November last month. So you can see we collected $84,000 in revenue. That's top line sales, meaning $84,000 in money that's going to be coming in over the next 1 to 3 to 6 to 12 months. How would it feel if you knew you had $84,000 coming in moving into 2026? Overall, though, what did we collect was just shy of $50,000 in cash collected. So what you see here is a lot of data, a lot of numbers. And what I will tell you is data is literally your best friend and what creates predictability and repeatability in your business. If you are not collecting data, this is the number one thing that I need you to implement in 2026 if you want to make smarter decisions in your business. Especially with the things that we are going to be talking about today, especially with ads, because if you are not collecting daily data with ads, you are going to be on an emotional roller coaster. But you can see from these numbers, we have really incredible numbers. We have a 6.87 ROAS on cash collected, a 12x ROAS, which is return on ad spend, for our revenue collected overall. Like, how many times would y'all spend $7,000 to make $84,000? A million times over, right? So what these numbers are basically saying is that every time I spend $1, I make $6. I used to be a vibes girly, and it worked. It honestly worked. Like from a financial perspective, vibes worked. From an emotional perspective, I was fucking psychotic. Like, it was not a vibe how all over the place I was emotionally, because I was making decisions in my business based off of vibes rather than data. And I think that this is something that, especially in the spiritual space, a lot of women will be like, oh, that's too masculine, I don't want to do that. But honestly, if we preach nervous system regulation, but on the back end, we're like here one day, down here the next day, in a feast and famine cycle, not understanding your numbers, not actually having a relationship with your data is the antithesis of actually having a regulated nervous system. So if you want And if you preach having a regulated nervous system, the easiest way for you to do that as it relates to your business is to understand your numbers and your data. Because when you do, you're no longer making decisions just based off of emotion, you're making decisions based off of reality. There was a point in my business where I would actually be experiencing crazy success, but the day by day, my emotions would be here, down here, up here, down here. And I remember having a conversation with my coach at the time, and she goes, well, Ava, what's the reality of the situation? What's the reality of the situation? Go look at your numbers, go look at your Stripe, go look at your client wins channel. What's the reality of the situation? And I went and looked at everything and I was like, oh, my emotions are lying to me. Ain't that a thing? Okay. And that was such a huge wake-up call to me of how important it is to like really understand on a daily basis like what our numbers are telling us, because then we can make smart decisions and we're not just like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, but we are looking at the reality of what our numbers are telling us and then making an informed decision based off of trends, based off of the past patterns, right? And so that is the first thing that for every single one of you is what's going to allow for you to scale and what's going to allow for you to grow. End of story, period. All right. So with that being said, I want to show y'all what our survey showed us, which was, before I go into this, biggest challenge is finding clients. And I shared with you my numbers, but this isn't just me. And I think sometimes I get super annoyed when I just see coaches like only share their own numbers, because I'm like, okay, cool, you did it for yourself. Can you do this for other people? The answer is yes, we do this for a lot of clients, over 800 to be exact. We have clients that are using this system to create a repeatable and predictable process within their business. And what this means to me is that I'm not fucking special, that this is a system that can work and be installed into any wellness offer to grow your business financially. And so we have clients that come in having never worked a high ticket offer and only doing single sessions. We have clients coming in that have a group offer that want to scale their offer and want to do it easier because leads have been unpredictable. And we have clients that are coming in that are transitioning from one-to-one into group because they want something more scalable for themselves. So it works. The biggest challenge that is really existing, and this is what everyone said in their survey, is that there's just no real strategy for finding clients predictably. There's nothing else in the pie. That was literally what every single one of you said is the biggest challenge, just being able to find clients predictably. So that's what we're going to talk about today, because A, there's way more people in this health and wellness industry. There just are, right? B, the algorithm has shifted. And C, more and more people have become way more discerning because they've made shitty investments. They've gotten burnt in the past. And now they're like, I'm not going to move right away because the last time I moved right away, I didn't really love the investment. So I need to take more time with you. And so I kept asking myself, like, is there a better way? And that is where this entire strategy that I'm going to share with you comes from. So I'm curious, how many of you would love to only post on social maybe like 3 times a week? Yeah. How many of you would love for leads to be coming in without you having to put a call to action in your story every other slide? Yeah. And how many of you would love for clients to find you, fall in love with your offer, and then stick around long term and not just buy one thing or one session, but actually be in your world long term, like doing life with you, as we say in this world. So the evolution of the coaching industry honestly lies within how you're actually attracting leads. That is what has shifted massively since the COVID era, when like everyone was online, the algorithm was awesome, and everyone bought from a single story. That it's dead. Like RIP to that era. I loved it. I missed it, but like we're on to the next. If your business does not evolve with these new strategies, your business is going to be left behind, or it's just going to be really fucking hard. And it's going to require a lot of output, which, as y'all just said, you don't really want to be on social media 24/7, 365. You did not build your business to have these golden handcuffs on your freaking iPhone 17. So what we're going to talk about is how to leverage paid ads. This is our leads to legacy system to just make a lead attraction more predictable, more consistent, and give you like an actual strategy that you can use to have people showing up consistently saying, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. That's what we're going to do. So this is an actual screenshot from my dashboard of paid ads. Why should you listen to me? Well, I spent $80,000 in the last year, in the last 12 months, to make $530,000 in revenue. We're at $495 for cash collected for the year. We will pass $500,000. All in all, I've generated over $3 million in the business. Some of that's been organic. Some of that has been about a third of it has been through paid ads. We have amazing numbers. And this is what I want for every single one of you, because again, when you can understand your numbers, when you have the ability to spend $1 and get $6 back, you can literally just turn the dial on and scale very, very quickly. But these results aren't handed to you without doing the foundational work first. And this is the thing that ultimately is why 99% of ads fail, is people don't actually take the time to do this work first, which is getting ruthless about who you serve and serving them only in your messaging. This is going to sound a little mean, and this isn't to anyone directly in here because I haven't actually checked out any single one of your individual messaging or individual posts, but 90% of people who actually show up and post online have fucking horrible messaging that is so generalized. It literally is talking to anybody. I mean, when women come into the High Ticket Coach Academy and we actually go through their messaging and positioning and their documents that they create, I'm like, wow, like ChatGPT did a pretty terrible job talking about your ideal client avatar. Ooh. And again, this might sound a little savage, but it's fucking true. If you have ChatGPT writing all of your ICA work for you, which is your ideal client avatar, writing all of your foundational messaging and positioning, please don't do that. You can have it help you with creating content after that point, but you need to sit down and get crystal clear without having AI tell you who you're here to serve. Because otherwise, you're not going to be confident in it, and you're not going to know how to actually speak to buyers at a high ticket level. So who is the client that you would multiply 1,000,000 times over that you've worked with? Easiest way for you to understand, like, this is who I serve and who I'm serving in my messaging. Y'all know who that client is. Who is that client where you're like, fuck, I would go on retreat with them. I would go get a cocktail with them. If you don't drink, go get a matcha with them. Who is the client that you would serve 1,000,000 times over? Why did they hire you? What was their current state when they said, take my money, here's my credit card? Versus what did they say? And I hope that when we work together, my goal is to what? I guarantee their goal wasn't like, I just want more peace in my life and a regulated nervous system. No, they said, I am like a ticking time bomb with my partner and my kids. And if I don't learn how to manage my emotions, I'm going to end up being a really vicious mother, a really vicious wife. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to turn out like my mom did. I don't want to turn out like my parents did. Right? Like that's what she's saying to you when she hires you or he hires you. That is your messaging. And this isn't just for your paid ads, although yes, this is what we leverage in paid marketing. It's also for your organic content. So what I want you to think about before we even go into the ad strategy, because your ads will not work if you don't do this, and your organic won't work if you don't do this. What are their 3 to 5 biggest pain points and their 3 to 5 highest value desires? So this is a really great example. Female wellness coaches. Hello, very straightforward in who I'm speaking to. You've got the offer, but the leads are inconsistent and posting on your stories isn't cutting it anymore. I will install my ads and upsell system into your business to help you scale to 20K months. DM me to learn more. So what did I do in this ad? I called out who I'm speaking to, female wellness coaches. I called out where they are right now. You've got the offer, but leads are inconsistent and posting on your stories isn't cutting it anymore. So there's the pain point. And then the promise tied with their high value desire, I will install my ads and upsell system into your business. That's the promise to help you scale to 20K months. That's the high value desire. I want to scale my business. So ads are very, very simple. We don't need to make them fancy. Like honestly, ugly ads work really, really well because they're straightforward, speaking to the person, their pain point, and their desire. But the issue is most people are very generalized in their pain point and very generalized in their desire. So the ads don't actually hit. So in my ad creation process, and we're going to go into like what those ads look like, but from a creative perspective, what I do is create one concept per week. And so, for example, the last one that I just showed you was like the concept is leads are inconsistent and posting on stories isn't cutting it anymore. So basically you can look at, I said like 3 to 5 different pain points or 3 to 5 different high value desires. Let's say you do 5 and 5 of each. That's 10 different concepts that you have. Does that make sense so far? So let's pull one pain point as one concept. On a weekly basis, I'm going to create 3 different types of content based off of that one concept. So I'll do a static single image. I'll do a carousel. That's a little bit more like in depth in terms of breaking down that same concept. And then I might do a talking head video or a B-roll of just like text on the screen, beautiful video running in the background. So what that allows for me to do is consistently test creative, because creative dies really quickly with the new Andromeda updates, which is basically just Meta's AI. Creative is dying a lot faster. So it's really important to be testing consistently with ads. Like, do not just make one ad. And with that being said, it also kind of alleviates the need to be thinking of like all these different angles and all these different creatives. It's like, here's my one concept, and then I'm just going to create it in 3 different ways and have that run for a week and kill whatever doesn't perform and keep on and scale whatever is performing. So with that being said, now that you kind of understand creative testing, I want to talk to you about where I started. Now, I'm not going to go into what we're doing right now in this exact moment, because based off of your survey responses, it's going to be an overkill for most of you. I can talk about it kind of like high level, just so that you're aware of like what that process looks like. But for most of you, this is actually where it's going to start. Now, one of you had mentioned in one of your surveys having around like $30 a day to spend in ad spend. So I'm going to actually break down like what $30 a day would look like after I go through where I started. So where I started, top of funnel, was 2 different ads, a new follower campaign, just $5 a day per ad. This is basically setting up a Instagram profile visits ad that gets people through the call to action of follow me for more. XYZ based off of, again, whatever messaging or positioning you're testing. So I might say something along, or I might have an ad that says like, my client just made $15,000 over the last month using our client Ascension ecosystem or our Leads Legacy framework. Follow me for more tips on how to create more predictable client flow, right? So you see how I'm, again, taking that concept, but the call to action is just to follow. This is a really cheap way for you to also create more exposure around your brand, grow your following with the right people, not going viral, because fuck going viral. And usually you get very, very cheap leads in the form of new followers coming in. So new follower campaign, $5 a day per ad. And then the other one is a DM campaign, $5 a day per ad with 10 different audiences. Once I was able to discern like this audience isn't performing, this one's doing well, I shut off the audiences that weren't performing and then put budget into the audiences that were performing. And then over about a 30-day period, I was able to discern, okay, this specific audience gets me the highest quality leads and this has gotten me the most clients. So now after this 30-day period, I can use this audience and start testing different creatives and concepts. Once that start building up your exposure, getting people into your ecosystem, getting people in the DMs with you, that's when you want to bring the middle of the funnel in. Now, depending on how long you've been on social for, how big your audience is, bringing in retargeting might be something that you do immediately. Even when I had started, I didn't go directly into retargeting. I did build my top of funnel first because we want more people in the middle of funnel, right? We don't want our ads to die immediately because we have a small audience. So in the middle of funnel, we still have a DM campaign. This is actually where we add in a high ticket lead magnet at $5 a day so that we are now building deeper trust and getting more airtime with this cold audience to heat them up really quickly. So middle of funnel, high ticket lead magnet might be a VSL or a video sales letter. It could be, we have a private podcast. We've got a mini course. What you really want to be thinking is, how can I make this as easy for people to digest as possible? Please don't do a PDF. And how can I add a shit ton of value to solve that specific person's highest value desire or their biggest pain point? So we want to solve something very, very specific, and we're not building a lead magnet to get a volume of leads. We're building a high ticket lead magnet to bring the right people in. I would much rather you have only 10 people sign up for your lead magnet that are on avatar perfect, your Kelseys, your Hannas, your Shelleys, your Catherines, than 100 people that aren't going to buy from you. Like, we don't want to build an email list of a bunch of people who aren't going to buy from us. The next piece is a testimonial ad. So this is either, it can be a carousel of like, here's how I helped my client do this. It can be a talking head video with a screenshot of what you helped your client do. It could be an actual testimonial from the person itself. That's super valuable. The great thing is, just run it for $2 a day. The point of that is just warming people up, building trust, building trust, building trust. If people respond to the call to action on it, amazing. But the point of it is to just show people you are the real deal and you get people results. So there's some ads that we run just for brand authority, building trust, getting you in front of people over and over and over again until they're like, holy shit, I literally can't log on to Instagram without seeing her. How many of you have seen my ads like literally almost every time that you log online? Yep. There's a reason for it. There is a reason for it. And that's because my ad strategy is meant to be really sticky, to get me in front of you as many times as possible. So you're like, I know Ava, I recognize her voice, I recognize her face, I can see her doing all of these different things. She must be spending a lot of money on ads. So that must mean that something is working. That must mean that she's successful. So now I'm more interested and I'm more intrigued. And that trust is slowly building because I see her all the effing time. So that's ultimately what we want to do here between our top of funnel and middle of funnel. So our ads are honestly like the lifeblood of the business. We still obviously have people coming from organic as well, but in terms of predictability and consistency, I'll show you really quickly. Like this is, let's do last 7 days. In the last 7 days, we had 87 messages come through. 87 leads came through in the last 7 days, and that doesn't include let's see how many followers came through. The 61 new followers that have come through as well, or let's say 121 actually between two campaigns. So I spent $1,600 to get 120 followers plus 87 new leads in my inbox directly to me. Directly to me. We just had someone sign up this morning, $4,400 pay in full. So the ads have already made the money back. We've got multiple calls on the calendar today. And so this is why I love this strategy, because 3 years ago, even when my business was at 50K months from just organic, I didn't have 87 leads coming in every single week. My page wasn't growing consistently with the right audience every single week. And so there's so much potential here. And again, it doesn't have to take a huge budget. The $1,600 that I spent over the last week was not what I was spending when I was just getting started. I was spending, again, $50 a day to get started, which is about $3,000. Don't correct my math. Whatever $50 a day times 30 is, 1,500, I don't know. Anyways, I wasn't spending as much. But again, when we come back to that question of how much, if your offer is $5,000, how many times would you spend $1,500 to get a $5,000 client? A lot, right? And that's like why ads are so powerful, because there's just so much opportunity that we have to be able to scale. But the reality is, even when we are working with ads, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's predictable every single month in terms of like ads just always work and they never turn off and it's just like rainbows and butterflies. And that's where what we call our client ascension ecosystem comes into play, because every single person that enters your world needs to have a pre-planned next step. So you're not solely relying on volume, new clients or ads to constantly be performing. Like they don't, and you need backup. And so this is really where your offer ecosystem comes into play, and strategically building it for easy upsells to your warmest audience is so important, which is your existing clients. So y'all heard me mention earlier, I've got my mastermind that I don't run ads to. That is a Ascension offer that is a next step for the women in my world that come into the High Ticket Coach Academy. Some women enter directly into the mastermind because that's just where their business is at. But for most of our clients, we invite them in at a specific point within their client journey. It's not what am I going to offer them next? Or where should they go next? No, I have every single offer planned out to a T. And so if you don't have a next step for your clients, this again is one of the things that I want you to be thinking about. Even if you just do one-to-one coaching right now, do you have a continuation offer past that like 3 or 6 months of your clients working with you? So let's say like you have a 6-month offer right now, one-to-one. After the 6 months, where does your client go? Are you having a conversation with them of like, hey, do you want to sign again for another 6 months? Or are you letting them know in month 4, hey, we've got 2 more months left. Obviously, we're going to continue working together through these next 2 months. But I wanted to let you know that for all of my one-to-one clients that do re-sign earlier in the process, I offer this really exclusive XYZ bonus to lock you in. This is how you have clients stay with you long-term. And the way that you can do this that has worked so insanely well is a credit system. One offer leads to the next with a credit system to remove the first initial investment within a time period. I'm telling you, the sales psychology on this is just absolutely insane because people love free shit. And so, for example, if you have a mid-ticket offer that's like $444, you can credit that towards your high ticket offer of, let's say it's a $6,000 offer. So instead of someone paying $6,000, you're letting them know, hey, you just joined this mid-ticket offer for $444. You're going to get this for free when you upgrade into my high ticket offer. So it's only, instead of it being $6,000, it's $5,556. So you're getting the first program for free. Again, people love free shit. So how this works inside of our business, AOB is a 997 offer. HTCA right now, up until literally Wednesday, is 4,400. We're raising the price to 6,000 on January 1st. But AOB students can use the 997 that they spent in the certification towards the High Ticket Coach Academy. So they only have to pay $3,400 for the program. The caveat is that they need to sign up within the span of the time that they are inside of the Academy of Breath. So their credit system isn't just like, you can use this whenever. There's urgency here that you need to upgrade by this point if you want to credit this investment towards the next. So again, if you only have one offer right now, I want you to be thinking about what is that either upsell offer or downsell offer that will turn into the like bridge step for people into my high ticket that will allow for me to increase lifetime value of my clients, have an obvious next step for every person that enters my world, and also increase client retention.
This is exactly what we do inside of the High Ticket Coach Academy. If you found a ton of value from watching this training, go into the show description to book a call with my team, and I can't wait to see you inside.